Hello everyone and welcome to Slitherine Next pre-show. We're live from Milan. I'm here with Mila Undro from Mua Games and Edmond, who is Slytherine's community manager. We're going to be with you for roughly 45 minutes and we're going to show you Master of Magic. Master of Magic is the reimagining of a classic from the 90s. We have the developer here with us today. So, Mila, how does it feel to be releasing Master Magic in very, very soon?
Well, it's exciting, of course. Nerve-wracking too. Yeah, nerve-wracking. Yeah, it's just so good. You know, we've worked on this for a couple of years and just put our hearts and souls into the game. So, yeah, I can't wait for it to be out. It's that feeling of, I want it to be out now.
Awesome, awesome. Of course, we are able to show you the game today. If you're wondering, you can find the game on a lot of YouTube channels because it's out there, and in just 1 hour you will be able to get it on Steam and other stores as well. But yeah, we can jump right into the game. We have a save game for you, so we can just jump right into the action, and Edmond is going to play. So Edmond, what can you tell us about the game and where we're at?
Okay, so as a lot of you big fans are aware, we showed the first 100 or so turns of the game, and a number of your favorite content creators had the opportunity to show you guys that slice of the game. What I wanted to do was show as much of what we might generally call the mid-game now. So we're well past turn 100, we're up to turn 131. You can see here I've established some towns which are developing in different ways. I've got my army that I started the game with, which I've developed over the beginning of the game. And now is the time to really start powering up as a wizard and start taking the fight to the enemy wizards.
Which wizard are we playing as?
So I'm British, so it had to be Merlin. That was just a given, and we're playing as the Highmen as well, which is the loosely British-themed faction, if you will. So it had to be that. It couldn't be anything else for me.
And you've got the paladins, so we can just
yes, and we got paladins.
So.
Yeah, exactly. It's the metagamer in me also approves.
All right. So, what is your strategy right now?
Okay. So the main way to, well, not the main way, but one of the ways in which you can increase your power as a spellcaster is to secure mana nodes. But a lot of them are very well defended from the beginning of the game, so you can't really attack them early. So what I'm doing now is, this is my main capital city, and you can see here this is the queue system that is in the game. I've queued up some catapults, which I'm going to add to my forces over the next couple of turns, and then we're going to start attacking these nodes and taking them over to increase our spell power.
That sounds great. Right, so shall we take a look at the current army composition? Because I see that you have a couple of heroes right there.
Yeah, so I started with, as the Highman, I started with a lot of just the basic foot soldiers, but they got killed during the early phases of the game. Their immediate replacement is the pikemen, which is a sort of next step of basic foot unit. And then we also added some Highman cavalry, which is, once again, an expense step up. These are more mobile and therefore somewhat more useful, slightly better offense, but not quite as defensive. This I picked up from an event, so I've got some sprites, which is always nice. They've got great scouting, so I used them to scout out the upper territories here, so I could see what was going on in the world. And then we have the heroes, which I got an all-girl team here. It wasn't planned, trust me. The events are random, but I ended up with Valenar the Bard and Shuri the Huntress. So those are my heroes, and they've grown with the army during the early game.
Of course, nice. Master Magic is obviously a game about magic as well. So shall we take a look at your spellbook as well?
Yes, of course. We maybe look into the magic screen first. So there's a few things going on. You're splitting your magical power, if you will, between research, casting skill, and mana. So depending on your situation, for example, if you're engaged in a war, you might cut down on your research, for example, to focus on your pure casting ability. So there's a dynamic to it there. And then your actual spells themselves, you have the selection to research from, and then the selection that you can actually cast or you're in the process of casting. So Merlin's got access to life and nature, so I have various life and nature spells.
Just as a reminder, there are almost 200 spells, or over 200 spells, am I correct? So there's an enormous variety. There's also almost 200 unique unit types. So that's...
Yeah. And when we talked about the magic books and that, it's once you played the game a few times, most of us switched to playing custom wizards, and then you can, have, for example, three different magic book types and really play around with the different spells. You don't go up as much in the rarity of the spells or the power of the spells, but you get the variety, so there's all sorts of really cool strategies to play with.
Yeah, basically the replayability factor in Master Magic is just absurd. That's also the reason why there are so many players of the Region 1 after all these years. Well, it's a game which was released in the early 90s, so that's almost 30 years. But actually I have a question about this. This Master Magic is almost a remake of the Region 1. Some of our fans have asked you, why didn't you choose to try and change some things?
Yes. So I'll tell you the whole story behind it. So it's early on in our design, we did kind of think we could, let's say, get away with simplifying some mechanics, maybe with adding some of our own stuff. But as soon as we got really back into the original Master of Magic, we played it, we went to all the forums, we just realized how much passion there's still in the original Master of Magic. There's people that have been playing it for 27 years, modding it, just absolutely committed. So yeah, very quickly we realized the only way for us to do it properly is to try and respect the source material as much as we could. So there's little things that we had to change, but we did our best not to mess with it too much.
Sounds great. I wanted to mention that there are already quite a few reviews out there, and I think that so far the general consensus is that the game is pretty well respectful of the original one. So if you're a fan of the original Master of Magic, chances are you will love this new game, which of course is not granted, because there have been some other games which try to recreate the original feeling of Master Magic, but none really managed to capture that sort of feeling that the original had.
Yeah, I hope so, and also our beta testers, and a lot of them are players, as I've mentioned, those players that have played for many decades, and yeah, fingers crossed, they've said they still feel like they're playing Master of Magic, and for us as the developers, that's just, I think that's the best praise that we can get, is that it still feels magical.
Yeah, so I've just, while you were talking, I've just built those catapults, and I've assembled the army ready to take this mana node. I just wanted to talk about this screen as well, because those of you out there who know me know I'm a big strategy gamer, and one thing with strategy games is you can reach a point where you have to fight a lot of very tedious battles because you've become very powerful, and maybe one particular enemy has become quite weak and they're just throwing lots of rubbish units at you. So you can actually auto-resolve battles in which you're going to have an overwhelming victory. And that's, sort of, that kind of modern convenience is really nice to have. So you can concentrate on the fights that matter and just resolve the ones that don't, which can always happen. especially when you find someone's scout unit with your entire army. So I'm just going to I'm going to command this one personally because it's actually a mana node. And maybe we can talk a little bit about the fights.
Sounds great.
The enemy goes first because I attacked them. So.
Oh, I like the map. It's very foresty.
War bears, yeah.
Right, scary. Seems small.
Yeah, they are very nimble and can.
Fire first.
Yeah. They can deliver a punch.
Okay, so I have a hero here. She's actually capable of casting as well.
So what's your strategy here? Actually, I was wondering.
Well, what's interesting about this is that this is a nature node, and therefore any spells that I try and cast that are not from the nature class, if you will, may potentially just be stopped outright. So it's very risky for me to use any magic that's not of the nature type. But I do have some nature spells, so I'm not defenseless here. So I've got stone skin and greater strength. So I'm going to stone skin these guys because they were hit with ranged attacks. So the AI might try and finish the job there, and I'm going to try and prevent that from happening. And then I have these very slow catapults. So general strategy would be to just defend them while they do this.
I love the sound they make.
It's so satisfying. It's just.
Admit it, you got the catapults just because of that.
They're great. I'm a big fan of the catapults. I'm trying to pick off their ranged units because I don't want them shooting at me from across the map. Now, some heroes can equip different weapons, and Shuri here, the huntress, she has a bow, so I can also use her at a distance. But she's, I don't know if you noticed the negative marker on her here. She's been webbed, so she can't actually do anything right now, so I'm just going to have to leave her be. And I'm going to bring my cavalry around the sides to defend my catapults, create a line, because the main weakness of the catapult is it can't move, or it moves very, very slowly, like one tile per turn. So I have to defend them while they get the work done for me.
You know, one thing I really like about this game is that each unit truly feels unique. It's not like a rock paper scissors thing. It's a lot deeper than that. There are so many unique traits and so many abilities.
And then when you have spells on top of that, so you have your units that already have unique spells and abilities, and then you have, depending on the magic school you have, you can just boost them.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so I think it's time for rocks.
Just on the topic of battle maps, so maybe for the fans out there of the original, they'll notice that that's a bit of a change. So our battlefields are a bit larger, and obviously the hexes influence that. You know, when you had the squares, it was a smaller battlefield. But we've also slightly increased the movement points, so you know, it's a kind of give and take.
What was the feedback from the community?
Well, the movement points.
Don't change my precious original game.
Yeah, that remains a point of contention. So I think, so initial reaction almost always is, why have you changed it? And I've seen it on Steam and so on, people that watch the reviews, and I've seen people say, oh, you know, why would you do that? But from the beta testers that have already been playing for hours, they have also said to us that it does speed up the game, and you know, it is a change, but it's not a bad change. But yeah, that's been the movement points. It's a bigger point than the hexes. I think if I had to tell you one issue that the community has kind of you know, spoken to me about is the movement point.
Okay. Well, when you have this kind of passionate community, they tend to be rather conservative about everything. There's this big nostalgia factor about basically everything. You can just touch one single aspect and then the whole thing comes down pretty much. But in this case, I think they're being understanding of why.
Yes, I think so. And I mean, I think I also understand their point, because with any change that you make in Master of Magic, it's such a wonderfully complex game. So with any change that we've either chosen to do or had to do, we also understand the domino effect. So the movement point might seem simple, but it has affected a whole lot of spells and skills and units. And then we had to, work around that and come up with solutions. So, so I understand their worries, but yeah, we've been very lucky with the community that most of the time they also understand our choices in the end. So that's been really good.
Sounds great. Right, Headbone, how's the battle going?
Some of my guys are being eaten by bears right now, but we'll just have to bear with me. And the fight is very grisly right now. But don't worry, we've got it. We'll have it under control shortly.
I believe in you.
So the reason why I'm not using I have a hero here that's a bard, and she's quite low level, and she just buffs. She buffs units. I say she just does that. That's the most important thing that she does. So I'm not using her on the front line because she's a bit of a soft target. So here I'm tanking with my melee troops, which are rapidly running out here, and my archer hero is picking off what she can, and then we should pretty much have this wrapped up shortly. But losses are inevitable in Master of Magic. This is not the game where you just keep the same army all the way through. You're going to be constantly replacing units. It's very difficult to keep everything alive.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they are your minions. You're a powerful wizard, so they're expendable.
Although I must say, I do save scam when my heroes die.
Oh, no,
I hate my heroes dying. This is why I choose life magic most of my playthroughs, because it's got the resurrection spell, so I can bring them back.
It makes sense. Well, to be honest, I do the same.
I have learnt heroism. So you can be rewarded with spells for taking mana nodes, which is really helpful.
And that spell is great. It's when you get to the paladins and you slap some heroism on there, and it's just...
You're such a metagamer. I'm surprised.
I am too, but there's some joy from, just killing everything.
Okay, so I'm just going to queue up some replacements for the units that we lost. More meat for the grinder.
So I was wondering, who is the wizard to your north? To the north of the map?
Oh, that. So you have the opportunity to bump into various wizards, and to the north of me is Lopan. He says we're not at war just yet, but he has decided to build a town right next to my capital, so that statement will not be true for very long. The AI does like to encroach on you, and you do have to fight for your space. So that's what we'll, as soon as I've recovered my army, I think that's what we will go and do, is deal with this encroachment.
Oh yeah, he's moving in.
On higher difficulties, the AI gets really aggressive. So as soon as they show up next to you, you're probably going to end up being at war within a couple of turns.
So I've just cast Just Cause here, which is a spell that helps to attract heroes to my side, because we all like heroes. And
yeah, we do.
The mana node, which I've just freed up, I'm just going to create a magic spirit so I can go and meld it. And now we need to take care of this encroachment. So we don't We don't need no formal declarations of war here. We can just go straight for the throat. That's what I plan to do.
Nice.
There's my magic spirit. So your summoning circle is in your town, so my magic spirit will appear there. And then I can go and take the special action of melding with the node. Now it's mine.
You could use the move summoning circle spell if you want to. Because when your empire spreads and you have like 20 towns or something, quite often you do want to move that because you don't want the spirits to have to fly through the whole map to get to a node. So.
Yeah, that's always a big difficulty in 4X games. The larger you expand, the more complex logistics become. So it's not easy. But yeah, I think, Edmund, you're doing a pretty good job there.
Yeah. So if you see here, this is just a scout unit. So there's no point in fighting this battle because it would be an overwhelming victory. So we can just send the familiar to do it. That way you can avoid battles that don't really, I mean, they matter, but from a strategic point of view, they matter. But from a fighting the battle point of view, I was never going to lose that fight, so we can just resolve that one. But once we attack, Lopan's real army will turn up, and that's when we'll have to deal with him. Ooh, Ice Bolt. Should we get Ice Bolt?
Yeah.
Okay,
sounds promising.
Let's start researching Ice Bolt. Why not?
So guys, I was wondering, who is your favorite wizard in Master Magic? If you have one, of course.
Yeah, well, I go for custom wizards. So these days I will usually use Kali's portrait, and then usually go for alchemy and channeling, because alchemy allows you to transmute your gold into mana and vice versa, 1-to-1, which is amazing. We've actually increased the cost of that trait, so that was one thing we did change in the remake because it was so cheap. It was a must-have trait. And then I use Channeler because you get discounts on upkeep, so then I can slap that heroism on my paladins for half the cost. Yeah, that's what I do. And I usually go with life and actually nature. Not a lot of people like nature. Nature, it is said that nature is a weak school, but I love it. Things like change terrain and nature awareness and sprites. I
have
really
one of the original events that's just popped up here, but there are, I think previously you just had to accept these things when they happen to you, but I have the choice here of spending mana or gold to try and mitigate the event. So I'm going to spend gold because I'm very wealthy. Oh, do you think you can attack my armies without consequence? Prepare for war, you worthless maggot. He was the one that got too close to me. He's just too clingy, and so. Right, let's just ransack the town. No defenders, really. Goodbye, town. Right, and I think that's part of his main army, so we will have to deal with that for sure. So one thing that is different about this game in particular in terms of economy is, in most games, and many sort of game strategists will know about this term of float. In most games, you don't want to float resources, as in you don't want to just hold resources in your hand because they're not doing anything for you. So people are spending all the time to try and power themselves up. But in this, you have to actually have the resources in your hand in advance. So if I have no mana, I can't cast in battles. So you can't be spending all your mana all the time casting, because then when you go into a battle, you have no mana, and then you can't cast anything. So you have to actually think about whether you're going to hold resources for fights or spend them to boost your economy. And I like the...
Yeah.
Do you want to go into the magics and actually give yourself more mana, because I can see you're low on it. So while you're on the subject,
can you please min-max your game? I have paladins to build.
I just can't watch it anymore. I'm like, you have 38 mana. This is not good.
Okay, all right. I've boosted my mana.
Well, this is why we brought Mila, so she can give you some tips.
Yeah. It's weird to be out metagamed for once. I must admit, it's an unsettling feeling. Okay, let's command this one personally. I think this is just a scout force here. I think he's got some actual proper armies, but... Oh,
Ooh.
He's dispelled Bless. How dare he?
Well, Lopan is a powerful wizard, just like you. And he also has long-range artillery.
To be honest, the reason why I'm fighting this battle is because catapulting halflings is just the most satisfying. This is the most satisfying thing on earth. I can't wait until it's my turn.
Yeah, I never knew this until you told me. So now I know this. I'm going to give it a go.
Okay, all right. My turn. Unleash the rock. It's so fun when you roll high and you get the whole squad.
Poor halflings.
Yeah, and Master of Magic has quite a complex fighting mechanics. So it's really actually hard to get it in tutorials and that. So do you want to click on the question mark just to show you? So if you ever get lost, we've tried to give it a...
The question mark?
Yeah,
Where's that? I've never looked at a tutorial before.
At the top.
Oh yes,
And,
here it is.
So that's like an additional tutorial. Then we did a little video there, and you can kind of go in and check how the battle works, because it's been a challenge, because in a lot of strategy games you could just show it, when you hover over a unit, you could show percentages and stuff, but it's just not really doable for this one. So this is our kind of way of dealing with that.
Yeah, because the games of this era usually came with a novel with manual written on the front of it.
To be fair, this one does as well.
Exactly.
So in a way, nothing has changed.
Well, we stayed true to the
Yes,
original,
of course.
manual and all.
Actually, the new manual has the same exact intro as the old one, right?
Yeah. I think there's a line or two change just because in terms of the lore, there's a slight change. So the wizard that you become, it's more the essence of the wizard is kind of in the mirror, in the magic mirror, because, in the tower, rather than the wizard being there physically. So to adjust for that, we had to, I had to change a few lines of the intro. But other than that,
yeah, he undid my bless, so I just put it right back. That's,
Deal with it.
Yeah, you took it away, and I just put it back again. Oh, ow.
and you're fighting quite close to your capital, which is good because it means you have more casting skill available to you. If you were somewhere really far away from your fortress, you'd get less. So it's all sorts of complexity in game that you kind of learn over time.
It's being a wizard is a bit like being a mobile phone tower, apparently. you got to be closer to get that strong signal,
Exactly.
Okay, I'm trying to get rid of the fire support here because it's the slingers are they're picking on my hymen.
One thing I like about Master Magic is this classic 80s to 90s fantasy feeling, which is actually getting a revival nowadays. Lots of nostalgic sequels or remakes or films from back in the day are coming back. And I think it's the same with video games, right? I mean, Master Magic tries to capture that sort of feeling and atmosphere from those years. So I think it really does a good job. Was there any particular angle you went for, or did you just try to recapture the original feeling that the original game had?
Yeah, no, we stuck pretty much with the original because, as soon as you try to insert something else or, insert more of yourself, it kind of messes with the thing you're trying to remake. I mean, obviously we've updated, so the artwork for the wizard, they're the same wizards, but some of them are older, some of them are slightly changed. So yeah, of course, you update things for the current current climate.
Yeah,
But other than that, we tried not to do it whenever possible.
yeah, of course.
Okay.
Well, there were some comments about one specific wizard, but let's not get into that.
No.
I got it.
Nice.
This is a very, very tough unit, and I can't aim for his heal, so I just have to beat him down. Okay, the battle has not ended because my pikemen have been mind controlled, and I don't think I have any way to unmind control them. Oh, yes, I do. Dispel magic. Let's go. I can't. I'm just going to have to sit them out.
Yeah, just a matter of time.
Oof. They managed to kill my catapult while they were mind controlled.
No more
Damn
catapults.
them.
Those are expensive, you know. Okay, so now I have to replace it.
So this is, of course, just a slice of a typical Let's Play. You know, a full playthrough will take dozens of hours. But the nice thing about Master Magic is no playthrough is the same as the previous one. So depending on the wizard you take, the schools of magic you have, the spells you pick, the race you're commanding, and of course also, you know, the world around you, each playthrough is completely different. So that's a game that can keep you hooked for years.
Yes, well, as many people have been hooked for years,
Yeah.
so we're hoping that they will be too with this one. And we've also added a lot of modding tools.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that the same thing will happen to the remake that happened with the original, which is having an amazing modding community. So yeah, we'll see, but that's the hope.
Yeah. Speaking of modding for the original game, there was a specific modder called the Seravi, of course, who made Custom Magic. And of course, Slitherine a few years ago re-released the Custom Magic as an actual DLC for the original game. And Seravi, he was invited to take a look at an early version. I believe you were still in alpha, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. It was still
And what was his feedback about the concept and the game?
Yeah, he was really constructive, so he gave us a lot of notes. I liked his final feedback because he gave us unfortunately I won't remember the precise percentage, but he gave us a breakdown of what he thinks we did, which was pretty much so you did 85% original Master of Magic, 5% of Caster of Magic, and and now my maths is not going to work, but the other percent of your own stuff. And I was like, wow, that's actually, if it's true, if other people feel like him, I would be very happy because that's what we actually aimed for. So, I don't know. He's not told us since what he feels about the game now, but I hope he still feels the same.
Yeah, so while you were talking, I got offered another hero. That's because I casted that Just Cause spell, which attracts heroes to your side. So I've also got, don't ask me to pronounce this, Boggertu, the Orc Warrior. He's a melee powerhouse. So that's going to add a little something extra to my main force here, and I also brought my engineers along, my highmen engineers. So what I'm going to do is start building a road. So you can actually modify the terrain, and I've got a few spells that actually let me do that. I believe I have Wall of Stone and Change Terrain. So I'm going to do Change Terrain.
I like that one.
Just to make it easier for me to ferry troops towards Lopan here, who he decided to provoke me. But he started the fight, but I promise you I will finish it. All right, so I'm just moving up here. You see my spell is ready. So what this does is it lets me create forest. And what forest does is it improves the productivity of a town. So I believe there is a way of showing the terrain bonuses from the building side. This is really, I love the new town graphics. It's very pretty.
I think if you hover over the production thing
That's
in
it.
town, I
That's
think
it.
that's where you get like a breakdown of. No.
There it is.
Or the kind of, you know, the 3 worker. No. See, oh no.
There
I
we
can't
go.
remember either. Oh, there we go.
So,
We found
Well,
it.
you know,
We
it's
found
a
it.
complex game with a complex UI, so sometimes...
I never look at these things. I'm like, whatever, they're producing, that's fine. I don't check up on them. I'm not that kind of a boss, you know, they can do their thing.
yeah, so the, I mean, the thing is, I know that when you know it, you don't, it's nice to have the tools to actually see, is sort of the point I was trying to make, but obviously, we've all been playing the game for so long, we know exactly what every tile and feature does, so it's kind of funny that the tutorial is somewhere I would trip up. Okay, I don't think this town is very defended, so I think we'll be able to just walk in.
probably the army which was defending it is the army you vanquished earlier.
It could be, but I'm pretty sure he's got more than 5 units, so... Yeah, this is actually pretty undefended, so we'll just help ourselves. There we go. It's mine or mine.
Wow, you're on a spree.
I'm sure we'll see a response. Oh, there it is. So you can see here, look, there's an 8 stack that the AI is building.
I have a question. What can you tell us about the various faction differences? I'm talking of the difference, for instance, between highmen and halflings. How do they play differently?
Well, they have different units, different buildings. So halflings, for example, halflings are good for a quick game strategy. So again, my favorite heroism on halfling slingers who are available to you pretty much from the beginning of the game. And yeah, you can get so much done with that. And I also have 8 figures in a unit, unlike other races, which is cool. For example, and then highmen, for example, the big difference is to get to their final unit, which is the paladins. You have to build so many buildings. It's a real journey to get there. But once you get there, they are much more powerful than the slingers. So it's a trade-off. You know, you can have a quick start, or you can wait and play the long game. So, and it's like that with most other races. I think it's only the orcs that are very. I'd say the orcs are very human. They're very beige.
The orcs are very human.
They are. You know, normally in role-playing games and stuff, it's like the humans that are the neutral ones, but it's the orcs here.
Speaking of slinger spam, the AI has gone for the slinger spam strategy, but...
Okay, guys, I just have a surprise for you. Master Magic is out.
Yeah.
Yes! Now you can all play it too.
Everything went well. You can get it on Steam, Epic Game Store, GOG, everywhere. You can get it on Slitherine as well. We can't wait to see what you think, guys. So feel free to try it out. Edmond, I believe we have just a few minutes to wrap this up. So if you're really quickly, we can finish this battle, but we want to show the trailer before we finish this particular.
Oh, this is the hard part, is where you prise my fingers away from the
well,
the game.
Worst case, there is a button to just conclude the battle automatically, I think.
There is we can 4x speed auto combat,
I mean,
modern convenience.
There should be enough.
There you go. And the auto resolver uses spells and abilities. It's not handicapped in any way. So it's going to resolve this fight for us quickly. I'm sure we'll see some more satisfying halfling rock splat.
You know, with the 4x speed, it's pretty fun.
So they're all on adrenaline rush.
Yes.
Brushing.
Oh, he tried to dispel a spell but failed. What a pity. So, I mean, if you take a really good position in a battle and you decide you just want it cleaned up, the auto-resolver is there for you both in the battle and outside of the battle. There we go. Woof.
Nice.
Speed running the game.
All right, so we're out of time. So I just wanted to thank you both, Mina and Edmund. But before we finish, we wanted to show you the trailer for Master Magic. So here we go.
Master of Magic is a remaster of the 1994 classic, which IGN described as the best fantasy strategy game ever made. It is a game which made a historical contribution to the 4X genre, and now Slitherine brings it to the modern era. Choose one of 14 wizards available in the game and compete with the others in a battle for domination over the twin worlds of Arcanus and Mirror. Command a selection of fantasy races, build armies, and expand across procedurally generated maps in a world which is vibrant and mysterious. As a wizard, your spellbook is your best friend, even more than your familiar. You have over 200 unique spell types at your disposal, ranging from damage spells to summons, from utility spells to the infamous spell of mastery. There's nothing you can't achieve through magic. When you do run out of mana, though, then you can revert to the might of your armies and vanquish your enemies in tactical battles. With almost 200 unique unit types, there is an enormous variety in terms of armies you can field, and each unit has a plethora of unique traits and skills. This classic gameplay was what drew the interest of so many players in the 90s, and it has been enhanced with everything you'd expect in a modern game. Improved AI, vibrant yet faithful artwork, dramatically improved graphics, new events, improved controls, and so much more. Yet the core gameplay remains faithful to the original game that drew so much praise. Every spell, every unit, item, hero, and feature has been lovingly recreated to capture the original game's award-winning depth and complexity. If you're a fan of the classic or a new player to Master of Magic, there is something for everyone in the worlds of Arcanus and Mirror. But beware, the rich treasures of these worlds will not be given up so easily to any that comes to take them. Only one will be able to stake their claim to ultimate magical power and become the Master of Magic.